Thousands of college students said to be calling on the federal government to erase hundreds of millions of dollars in student loan debt. They say they were promised a good-paying job from their schools, and they never got it. Mike, someone's going to have to pay for this. Won't it eventually end up being us, the taxpayers?
That's right, David. Look in the mirror. And you know what? Taxpayers are going to have to pay up a lot for this. And we saw this coming a mile away, or at least as far back in 2010, when the Democrats crushed the private loan market.
Well, Mark, only 8% of those paying out student loans are behind in payments. Won't this encourage a lot more people to get behind on their payments?
It might, and I think it goes to the heart of the issue of whether is higher education a right or a privilege. And when we bail out people, who do we bail out? Do we only bail out Wall Street and the big banks, or do we also bail out the little guys or the people that are in school? So, I mean, there's a big issue here, and the total amount of debt is about $250 billion. So do we wipe that clean, and what do we change, and how do we change it?
Well, John, I don't think you're for any kind of bailouts, are you, for students or for banks?
No, of course not. And this is not the federal government's money. This is taxpayers' money that the federal government is deciding to potentially excuse. And so they shouldn't excuse it. They should make these people pay back the loans, and then they should scrap the student loan program altogether.
And, Kerry, we don't want to encourage bad behavior. A loan is supposed to be paid back.
Right. I mean, this is going to encourage moral hazard. It's going to encourage fewer people to graduate. They're going to drop out, not graduate on time, because it's other people's money. It doesn't matter what scenario it is. It's the same economic principle of moral hazard. And it's actually over $1 trillion, Mark. You're wrong. It's not 250.
All right. We can argue about the weeds, but Sabrina, the idea, is it good or bad?
Well, it's bad. And look, David, it should remind us the very best way to keep costs low in anything, education, healthcare, whatnot, is to make sure that the consumer is the closest person to the person providing the good or service. And so here we have the government getting involved, distorting the education market, allowing universities to have profligate spending, and students for being sort of foolish in what they're taking and majoring in women's studies and such that aren't going to pan out for them. So absolutely we need to just overhaul the whole system.
Okay. Steve, wrap this up for us.
Well, when the government gets involved, it's a critical reason why tuitions have gone through the roof in terms of trying to help people. They end up hurting them. And so it should be left to the private sector, not to government. Government makes things scarcer and more expensive. What we have here is a version of the subprime mortgages. They wreck the housing market with that. They're doing the same thing with higher ed.
No more bailouts, period. Coming up, look at that chart. Lots of folks selling this new year, but get the stocks our guys are buying after all the selling. Next.